Hello, I'm Valerie McLennan. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. I hope you're well. This is my spiritual channel, Valerie Mac, Scottish, spiritual, and very funny, allegedly. So I hope you've had a good week, etc., etc. And if you've been following me a while, thank you very much. And I hope you continue to follow me, ideally online. Thank you. If you're a new listener, thank you very much, and I hope you continue to listen. And if you could kindly revert back and listen to my previous podcasts, I'm sure you'll find them interesting. Wisdom, laughter, jokes, etc. A little combination. It's all speaking from my own opinion, sharing very personal thoughts from my own life, my own understanding, and the hope that you'll get some benefit from it. You'll only get the benefit if you take it and you use it, obviously. You may listen for entertainment factor. You may listen for enjoyment. Well, enjoyment, thanks. You may listen for the enjoyment. You will really gain when you start to use the tools and you put it into practice. I can only say it. I can't force you to do it. I hope you at least try. And that is my intention for the channel. Thank you. Now, if you could let other people know, just in casual conversation, if you could just kind of point out, just give them the name of my YouTube channel and direct them in that, that'd be gratefully appreciated. Thank you. And look, you'll be helping me, you'll be getting people to notice, etc. YouTube only does so much, YouTube will only help you if other people are kind of, doing their bit. It's like a 50-50 type of thing. They'll kind of push it. If you're pushing, it's that kind of thing. Goodness sake. So if you could kindly let people know, if you could do the kind of like, share thing, all that, whatever that is they ask you to do, that's great. Costs you nothing to subscribe. Not a penny, So if you wanted to subscribe, thank you very much. I know people that I know very well on my channel that listen to every single word I say and don't subscribe. Tell me, how do you think I feel? Anyway, now I've got a couple of little funny, they're not jokes, they're not stories, they're just something. And it's tying in with the fact that this is a holiday weekend. This is Thursday, is it? Yes. And I'm off work now. I know you care. I wouldn't be saying it otherwise. I'm off work now from Thursday until Tuesday. Isn't that quite nice? And it's supposed to be I know. I believe every word the forecasters say, but allegedly it was going to be very sunny from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I think it is, in Scotland, in central Scotland. I believe in many other places, wherever you're listening, if you're in wherever, in the UK. It's supposed to be nice all over. If you're working, I'm sorry I mentioned it. So am I. I didn't realise it. I know I forgot. I'm off today to Tuesday. You may be working. Your services are greatly appreciated. Let me tell you that. If you're working, whatever you're doing, we greatly appreciate you. We do. And we thank you very much. Now, I've got a couple of little stories. They're just kind of little, like, not jokes. Don't wait for the ching thing, whatever that is. What's that? Don't know. It just ties in with the fact. Holiday weekends, sometimes when families are suddenly put together over a few days, the tension can be palpable. And everyone's trying to be in their best behaviour. Usually people are going out the door and getting told no arguing, wherever you're going. Best behaviour, it's only for a few hours. Can you do the best of you? Now, maybe that's not your family. I'm only generalising. But some people go out the door and they're getting wherever you're going. Now, don't start. Be nice. Play nice. And maybe that's even the parents. That's only the parents. Could you please behave yourselves? Usually that's a young one saying that to parents. I just thought I'd change my approach. Yes. Anyway, so if you're the parents, you never know. Maybe it is you. Could you stop and behave yourself? Anyway, it ties into my little story. Are you ready? Have you got a pen? Got a pen? An envelope, a piece of paper, a pencil, anything with a nib and a pen and an end, something, a crayon, anything just to write something in a few moments. Thank you. Vow of silence. This is a story. There's a family and they're going to be, like this type of thing, they're going to be either for the weekend or a day or something. And as they're going out, they make a strict pact. No arguing over this holiday weekend. Do you know the usual? And they say, first person to get irritated, to just cause any annoyance, has to do the dishes. Obviously didn't have a dishwasher, don't start, thank you. They were doing the dishes by hand in this house. Where did they come from? Space. Anyway, just go with my story. Don't you sit there and go, you only just put it in the dishwasher. Well, didn't always put in a dishwasher. People had to wash dishes in the sink. See, in my day, anyway. So they were talking about washing the dishes in the sink the long way, you know that thing. Anyway, so whoever was going to argue first, whoever was going to cause anything, was going to be washing the dishes in the sink, I don't know, for a week or for the weekend, whatever it was. Anyway, so on the Saturday, can you imagine it? The Saturday, the father's in the kitchen and the tension is palpable as he's quietly burning the sausages on the grill. Do you know what I mean? Not intentionally. No, I don't think that was his plan. But he was burning the sausages on the grill and he was biting his lip in temper and he thought, I can't. We made a pact. We're not allowed to get angry or fight or anything this weekend and I've just burned my sausages on the grill. Anyway, I'm ad-libbing. Yes, the mum is sitting outside on the porch trying to meditate. I'm not aware he's doing that in the kitchen. He's burning the sausages. No, I'm going to do my meditation. That's family. No wonder I'm out here meditating. Listen to them. Oh, he's burnt the sausages. Anyway, I'm ad-libbing again. So she's sitting out meditating on the patio. They sat down for the burnt sausages. No, that's right. They sat down for the dinner, including the burnt sausages. And the tension in the air was thick. And finally, it's not a joke, it's just a picture. Finally, as she's burnt the sausages, the mother's meditating, they're all sitting eating the burnt dinner, everybody hates the burnt sausages, they're scared to send because the father will erupt, and they're all pretending they're enjoying their dinner. When they turn round, and little 7-year-old Tommy says, do what sausages? I want beans. Oh, goodness sake. So little 7-year-old Tommy gets a plate of beans, wanting the burnt sausages. No, not really, if I can help it. Thank you anyway, said the 7-year-old Tommy. Very polite, isn't he? Yeah. So they gave him the plate of beans. Well, he tripped. Oh, no, he tripped, yes. And he dropped the plate of beans on the white rug. I know. And as he got a fright, because he thought, that's it. So much for the calmness in this house in a minute. He got such a fright that he tried to stand up to try, in his own little mind, to pick up each bean one at a time off this white rug. And as he stepped up to try and help himself, he was standing in every one of the beans, crushing them even further into the rug. I know. Now, glance back at the table, and the father's purple in the face. Sausages are burnt. Everybody's got heartburn. Everybody's scared to mention the dinner's burnt. Father's purple in the face. The mother's only got half of her meditation, so she's not really calm yet. And then they remember the dishes. The dishes you have to do in the sink. It takes forever, and there's about 5,000 dishes, including everything he burnt on his way to make the sausages. I know. I'm ad-libbing this to death. Do you notice? I know. I'm impressed and all. Anyway, turn round, here's little Tommy, covered in beans, making it worse, trying to pick them up and crushing them in with his feet, then picking them up and then squashing it with hand. What choice? This is where you've got freedom of choice. Normally, they would have all erupted and you clown, what you doing down there? The fool, give him the plate. Oh, because you should have been down there with that beans anyway, and you say, And the mother would be saying to the father, you go, one job. You had one job and you burnt the sausages. For God's sake, what kind of people are you in this house? And that would be the normal. In this house, not in your house. No. You're like the Waltons. The Waltons are all very well behaved and very peaceful. I know, this is a strange family, this one here. They keep arguing over everything. I know. Generalising. So anyway, this is where I've got to turn it into spiritual channel. Valerie Mack, Scottish spiritual, and very funny. This is a spiritual bit. So at this minute, they're staring at the beans in the white rug, him, the burnt sausages, everybody's got heartburn, the whole thing, the mother trying to meditate, she's only got half meditation done, so she's not calm. Everybody's hysterical. Then they reach the freedom of choice. They all remember the pact was no arguing, no nothing. So they started to laugh. But then when they started to laugh with all the tension, they couldn't stop. Aren't we all strange people? They couldn't stop. So they were laughing hysterically, with the tears pouring down their face. Now, that was really because of all the suppressed tension. Do you know, when you do let all that kind of go, if you go one way or another, you either erupt with temper or you laugh. You always hear people say, I'm going to laugh or I'm going to cry. Do you know that kind of thing? I know, but they thought, so they laughed. But when they were laughing, they laughed so hard, started crying. Look at them. And we strange people. Anyway, human race, the human people, we're a funny bunch. Anyway, talk for yourself. I am. Anyway, that was a choice at the end. They all started laughing. The burnt sausage, the heartburn, nobody went, just so that they didn't have to wash the dishes. For goodness sake. And see how lucky you are nowadays with your blooming dishwashers all over the place. I know. When I was younger, I'm only 42. I know. When I was younger, you had to do it all in the sink. Do you remember that? What do you mean? I'm still washing them in the sink. I know, you sometimes see that online, don't you? And people say, I remember when I was young and that, and then you always get someone saying, what do you mean when I was younger? I'm still washing my dishes in the sink. Huh? Somebody else said something about hanging out washing, as if they were from space. Do you remember that? Oh, that's so funny. That. Do you remember people used to hang out at their washing? I'm thinking I still do. Thank you very much. And then I noticed the comments underneath, people saying, I still do hang out my washing, thanks. And they were laughing as if, like that Smash advert, remember the one with the potatoes? The little aliens looking at us on Earth and laughing at us, going, look at the state of them. Look at them, little aliens up in the sky. I didn't know I was going with this, I'm just following myself, I know. Little aliens looking down, going, look at them, washing stuff and hanging out with a little peg. What's a little peg, hanging that out, doing that? A funny little wiry thing and a little peg, and they're putting it up in a little pole. And the wee aliens were hysterical, laughing. Look at them. And they were laughing again with the dishes. Look at them washing those funny little dishes in the sink. Well, I'll tell you something. Not that many years from now, those little aliens will be laughing at the dishwashers. But look at the state of them with a thing called the dishwasher. It's just progress. Anyway, my family went through all of that carry on just so they didn't have to wash a dish. I know. There you are. So see how lucky you are. You know, life is made so easy now. I personally don't agree with having everything so easy in life. Never mind, I haven't got long enough. I'll get 11 minutes, so I know. Goodness sake. Anyway, another little story. It's a different family. I left them with the beans in the carpet. He's probably still trying to clean that rug. Anyway, it's a different family. A family decided to spend the holiday with their little white-haired granny. I don't know why they say white-haired. Listen, if she didn't want her hair to be white, you can colour your hair nowadays. She could have gone to the hairdressers and said, can I have pink? Any colour. I know, so I don't know why they say white-haired granny. Anyway, well, they did. Not my fault. A family decided to spend the holiday with their little white-haired grandmother. That's just to make her sound awful quaint, isn't it? I know. Now, they set rules in advance as well. They were leaving in the car and they were going to see their little grandmother. And at the end of the story, they obviously didn't go very often. That's all I'm saying now. No judgment in that sentence. But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. At the end of this, you realise they obviously didn't visit the grandmother very often. Just saying. So they set rules in advance. No complaining. There seems to be a theme, doesn't there? No complaining over this weekend and no arguing. So they were the same as that other crowd. Yeah. So off they went, and they went on the journey, and everybody sitting, suppressed anger and suppressed tension. No allowed to argue, no, I know. It's a different family. They should have gone with the other couple. Anyway, they arrived at the little cottage, and they walked inside to be met by a lovely, gentle little grandmother, slightly confused with her little white hair and her little cottage and her peace and calm. Here she was. So anyway, they were sitting talking to her, and after hours of talking to her and being very polite and courteous, another family member walked in and apologised for being late. I am very, very sorry for being late. And only at that point did they realise that they didn't recognise that other family member. They were in the wrong house. They were in with the wrong grandmother. Do you see what I mean? They obviously didn't visit her very often. Their grandmother was in the cottage next door, thinking nobody had come to visit. No, they were all in next door with someone else's grandmother, chatting for hours. So one grandmother was heartbroken next door, I'm ad-libbing, thinking not a soul. They told me they were coming to see me. I should have known better. Oh, not heard that song in years. I know, neither have I. So the wee granny next door is saying, well, I should have known. Obviously, they don't come to see me very often anyway. I should have known. That was too good to be true. That was just a dream of mine. Oh, here, listen to her. That's the idea of a podcast. And then next door, there's a grandmother who was only expecting one visitor, thinking, who are these people? And they just thought she was just slightly confused because of her age. Do you know what I mean? Not doing that. So they sat there. Anyway, they were with her for hours. The other person came in, sorry, I'm late, granny. Anyway, oh, for goodness sake, who's that? No idea. Oh, our grandmother's next door. What are we like? Oh, for goodness sake. Anyway, but the point being, because their pact was no arguing, no nothing. They're obviously fighting and arguing all the time. Well, they had enjoyed the peace and quiet so much in that little grandmother's house. They said, do you mind if we come back next year and have another wee visit with you? I know. They enjoyed the peace, the tranquility with that strange little grandmother who had been minding her own business next door. So they booked in again next year. Can we come and see you before we go in to see ours? We'll probably be arguing in here now. Well, no, blooming when do you be arguing? I'm going to defend this granny. Neither of these people exist. I don't care. I'm defending this little white-haired grandmother next door. She's sitting there thinking, they told me they were coming along, not a soul, and not a soul to be seen. I haven't seen them for blooming ages. Years, because they didn't even know. They didn't even recognise I wasn't that grandmother in the other house. How depressing is it, Anna? So by the time they'd got into her house, I don't think she'd be that chuffed, do you? I would never offer them a cup of tea, would you? Neither would I. Thank you. Now, the moral of my story is all this. Do you notice the theme? Can you just try not to be calm? Can you just try not to do this? Can you try and do that? Everybody was staring at screens. Nobody recognises anyone. Everybody's looking at the screen so often they didn't even realise that wasn't their grandmother. I know. Sitting there talking. Who's that? No idea. Goodness sake. I don't even recognise that woman. Well, she doesn't recognise you either. You're in the wrong house. Wrong house. What accent was that? No idea. My point being, there is a point. Get your eyes out the screens. I know. And can you please just remember, we're on in life for a while. We're supposed to be sociable. Do you know? So many people when they're going out, I know it sounds like a little joke, but this is what I mean again about people. You often hear families and different, even couples or whatever, if they're working all week and then they're suddenly together in a house, they start to get really irritated. I am speaking on your behalf. I'm just generalised. Not everyone. Everyone, some people are very, easy, no problemo, no arguing, no nothing. But some other people that I tend to meet, they kind of say, and they're kind of irritated with each other after 10 minutes. For goodness sake, are you still in my house? I beg your pardon, you're my husband. Anyway, that kind of thing. We need to remember in life, although we have freedom of choice, this is another thing. People are allowed an opinion. I've noticed over the years I'm not allowed one of them. I'm not really allowed an opinion. Do you notice? Well, I am as long as I don't voice it. Do you know? But then that's the way we are in life just now. You're allowed an opinion as long as you don't speak it out. I know. What use is that? What use is that to anyone? I know. So many people when they're at home this weekend or wherever you are, if you have an opinion, you're allowed. Can we be allowed an opinion? Can we just be allowed an opinion? It doesn't have to be, it's my way or the highway. Do you know, I think, what if you're wrong? I often think that, no allowed a bit, I know. What if I'm right? I know. So this is what I'm saying, when you're together again, I don't know either. Try and allow the other people or person, how many there are there, to have an opinion. But they're not always wrong. You're not always right. Do you know? And we're supposed to be growing. I'm throwing in my spiritual bit again before I go. We're supposed to be growing spiritually, and there has personal development and the whole thing. If you're running the whole show yourself and it's got to be your way or the highway, can you tell me how other people are going to grow? That's a question for you to ponder. If you're the boss all the time, and it's got to be your way and everyone's got to agree with you continually, or they're blocked or they're gone or you're not speaking again, or where's the spiritual growth there? In yourself, let alone the other people. Do you know? And I don't think that atmosphere would be very nice to be in for very long. As they said, that couple said at the beginning, the tension was palpable. What's pleasant about being in that atmosphere? So holiday weekend, try and remember, people are allowed an opinion. Even if it differs from yours, doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. Just let it go. I'm on a roll now. I'm on a roll with my songs. I think I'll make an album. What was my album? Do you remember my album? Can't remember it now. Remember I had a country album? Oh, for goodness sake. It was a hit. Everyone bought it. Remember they're all going to shops to buy it? It's got right out of my head. You said thank goodness for that. I know. Oh, wait a minute. I'm an autumn and spring kind of woman. I knew I would remember my song. I'm an autumn and spring kind of woman. And I wouldn't mind if the summer comes along this weekend. I know I'm an autumn and spring kind of woman, but if this weekend would like to give us some sunshine, I will cope with the sunshine this weekend. Anyway, that's me, 20 minutes. I just wanted to remind you, you don't have to fight, you don't have to argue, you don't have to be tension all the time. It doesn't have to be your way or the highway. You don't have everything. Relax, breathe, relax. Go out in the patio with that woman and let her finish her meditation. Just calm down, laugh, Now, the moral of that little story I told you, with the beans and the carpet, the whole thing. Can you imagine that house would be carnage? Carnage. The rug with the beans. Oh. Anyway, the moral was they had two ways they could have gone there. They could have laughed. They could have all fallen out. Every one of them could have fallen out. The one with the 7-year-old with the beans. See if you'd just eaten the blooming sausage just like everybody else. You and your blooming beans. Look at my rug. And you know, that's the way people go normally. But they had to kind of hold that back because they had the pact with the dishes. So little Tommy got away with throwing the beans in there. He'd be saying, what's this? It's my birthday. Normally I'd be getting screamed at just now from the rooftop about the beans. I know. Anyway, and the guy with the sausage. Their freedom of choice. See, at that bit, you're making a decision. Sometimes you can laugh instead of scream. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I'm not doing that. But you do. You have a choice. If there's a choice in life, sometimes just kind of laugh it off. You know, I told you, I gave you that big podcast the other day telling you all my personal story, my personal life. If you do get caught up in all that, you keep dragging yourself back through the past, you're staring backwards, you're in, you know, you're, as they say in Scotland, you're in a stew all the time with that. You're stewing away about the past, you're stewing. I quite fancy stew now. I know. Who's he? No idea. You're stewing away in the past and you're stewing with this, you're stewing with that. Let it go and just try and be calm. Just try and be pleasant. As that was what my stories were about. Laugh. Even if you don't want to laugh, like they did, they just laughed with the tension and they ended up with the tears pouring down the face, laughing their heads off. So if you've got a choice in life, calm down. Remember, we're only here for a minute. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully the sunshine will come along. Laugh instead of fight. Laugh instead of anything. My motto, I've told you this before, my motto in life, what's my motto in life? Laugh in spite of it all. As it's all going on, it's all coming at you, and everything's there, and everyone's a critic, a cynic, and everything else, and it's all coming at you. Laugh in spite of it. That's easy for you to say. Laugh in spite of it all. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Try and be good. Try and behave. This is Thursday. I'll be back on a Monday. It's a holiday on Monday, so hopefully catch some of you then with another new podcast. Take care of each other. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.